So welcome back, guys. Here for another dumpster talk. You have Todd and I here, and we're with Lauren Miller from Lancaster County Stem Alliance. How's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much
Thank you for coming.
for being on.
Chilly February. Thank you for having me.
It is, yeah. Thanks for coming and being in the cold with us.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry it's not a little warmer for you.
It's actually kind of nice. I like it.
It could, as long as the wind's not bad.
Yeah.
Like the last pod we did, the wind was a little bad, so it was rough. But it could be worse. But I'm sorry.
No, I feel pretty tough. Like there's snow in the background. We're out here doing it.
You can see our breath.
Yep.
See our breath going.
Yep. I'm ready for summer for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, thank you again for coming on.
Of course.
We always start off the pod with like a little background of your life before your professional career. So as much as you want to share, kind of just to get to know Lauren.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I am born and raised in Lancaster. I think this is the best town in the world. So shout out to Penn Manor High School. Really gave me the foundation that it really set me up for success. So I just love Lancaster. My dad was a teacher, and so I always knew like teaching was definitely something that I was interested in. And watching him go to work every day, he was a coach, a teacher, loved his job. So I got into education. I taught at Columbia High School. That was my very first teaching job right here around the corner. And then spent the majority of my career teaching science at Ephrata High School. And just transitioned to this job at the Lancaster County Stem Alliance.
That's awesome. I didn't know you were a teacher at Columbia.
Yeah, just 2 years. I was the track coach and the high school science teacher.
What years was that?
Let's see, 2003 to 5.
3 to 5. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I went to Columbia up until 10th grade.
I loved it there. It was like small school. I loved coaching. Like I knew everybody. I remember graduation. You knew every single kid's name.
Yep.
I loved it there.
Yep, it's great. It's a great school. I didn't know. Yeah, I definitely didn't know that you taught up there. It's a small world.
Yeah.
So having your dad as a teacher, so you kind of always wanted to be in that kind of field of teaching people.
Yeah, I can remember like him coming home and like grading papers. I just thought that was so cool, and he would let us like draw things on his papers. We'd go to his classroom on the weekends. So I just like was immersed with that as a career. He seemed to love his job, and so it just seemed like a fun thing to do.
What was the favorite part that you saw kind of from your dad that like made you kind of want to kind of follow his footsteps?
I can remember as a kid, anytime we would go anywhere, people would like swarm him, like, Mr. Rand, Mr. Rand. And so I just thought that was so cool. The connections that he was making with kids, the impact he was having on people's lives. He coached and he was a teacher, so I think he had like the double impact. But I just think it was the impact he was making on people, and even adults would come up to him and remembered him years later.
Yeah, and you never forget those memories. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a couple teachers that I'll never forget just because they were that kind of person outside of work, kind of giving you those personal information to kind of to help you grow.
Yeah, for sure.
How did you kind of get into the Lancaster County Stem Alliance?
Good question. So I was working at IU13, which I still work at IU13 as the Director of Education Partnerships. And so my job was really reaching out to local businesses and trying to connect them with schools. And so I had been on the advisory board at the Lancaster County Stem Alliance for years. And so if you're not familiar with the Lancaster Stem Alliance, it is a nonprofit that's funded through the Steinman Foundation of Lancaster. And they put dollars towards really connecting business and education. And so they were familiar with the work that I was doing. I was familiar with the work that they were doing, and we really joined forces. And they said, why don't you come on as the executive director, and let's just really blow up this program, and let's expand the number of business partnerships really working with school districts.
That's awesome. What are the sorts of programs that you guys have to offer to young students in Lancaster County? Because I know we've heard about STEM when we were in school, but we were never really involved as much. So what kind of programs do you guys have out there?
Great question. So we, through the STEM Alliance, there are so many programs. I think we sponsor about 46 programs per year. And so everything from a student who might be interested in computer science, we have summer programs where you can get college credits and you actually work at Cargist and get the credits, learn from Cargist employees. In 7 weeks, you have 2 credits and lots of job-based experience. That's just one example. Other programs we offer are really focused on teachers. So we have a program right now where we send teachers in the summer out into the workforce so they can see what it's like to do a job outside of education. And so those are just like 2 examples. We do programs for students, for community members, for parents. You name it.
That's a great way for students to kind of get that experience at a young age, because you go to college for 4 years and they want 2 years of experience.
Yeah.
So being able to get that at a young ages is awesome.
I was gonna ask, is the STEM Alliance, how long have they been running for? Because I remember they talked about when I was in elementary school and stuff, they were putting a STEM lab in,
Yeah.
but it was kind of towards the end of when I was there.
Yeah, about 10 years the STEM Alliance has existed. And I want to say we really started out of this need. We were hearing from local employers that students were graduating from high school and just didn't have the soft skills they needed to really thrive in the workplace. And so that's really where the STEM Alliance came to be. So 10 years ago, we created this, we call ourselves an ecosystem. So this group of people working together to say, how can we better prepare our youth? And at this point now, we actually talk about learners of all ages. So, but we started with just youth. How do we make sure that they're prepared for the workforce? And so we thought the best way to do that is through STEM education. If you're not familiar with STEM, it's science, technology, engineering, and math. And it's really all about hands-on learning, problem-based learning, teaching all those skills you do at work that maybe you weren't necessarily learning during the school day.
Yeah. And
For sure.
Have you been involved all 10 since the beginning?
So I was a science teacher, so I want to say I was always doing STEM from a really early age. We just weren't calling it STEM. But so I've been part of the STEM ecosystem here, the STEM Alliance, for the last 5 years, and the executive director for 2.
Nice.
You guys work with Career Ready Lancaster as well,
Yeah.
correct? How important is that collaboration in between those different kind of organizations? Because you're all kind of fighting towards the same goal.
Yeah.
So what's the importance of that kind of collaboration?
I love that question. So we have so many amazing resources in Lancaster County. We are so lucky. We have Career Ready Lancaster. We have the Lancaster Workforce Development Board, the Lancaster Chamber, the Economic Development Company. We have all these people who care about Lancaster's prosperity. We want Lancaster to thrive. We want businesses to grow in Lancaster. And so over the last few years, we have really made a consolidated effort to work smarter, not harder. And so coming together and figuring out how do we each find kind of what we're experts in? How can we all work towards the common goal of preparing a workforce for tomorrow? And how do we each kind of leverage our expertise towards the greater good? So that's a conversation we have all the time, and that is so important and why Lancaster is really rocking it right now with workforce development.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see because it's easy for different organizations to want to kind of win or get the most kind of done,
Yeah.
but everyone working together makes it a lot better because the students are what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to go to an event and see all the different organizations kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, we're all working together towards the common goal, which is really cool. And it's figuring out who has what resources, who's experts in what area, and how do we build that up so that we're all supporting one another.
For sure. So say if I'm a young student listening to this podcast and want to get involved in STEM, what are the kind of steps that they can take? Do they go out to their school counselor or
Good
how could they
question.
kind of go about that?
Yeah, so I would say most of the school districts in Lancaster County are doing some sort of STEM programming, and that's really I would say the STEM Alliance has been instrumental in that. Right now, we have a program where it's called Adopt a Middle School, where they're doing STEM education in all the Lancaster middle schools, where a business is working with a school to do some sort of real hands-on project that's authentic to what that business does. So I would say all the schools are doing something. All the elementary schools have some sort of STEM curriculum and high school STEM courses. So I would start with what does your school have to offer? And then if you're looking for things before and after school, the STEM Alliance is a great resource that could connect you with other people who are doing really amazing programs outside of the school day and in the summer.
Awesome. Are you starting to see more businesses be open to having these young kids come in and kind of get that hands-on experience?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a shift in Lancaster that it can't just be the sole responsibility of the school to educate and prepare the kids for jobs. It really takes all of us. We need to know what businesses need. We need to know what job opportunities are available. And then we help build student populations so that they're ready to do that. And so, yeah, we're seeing a lot of businesses that are stepping up and saying, okay, if we want a strong workforce, we need to open our doors. We need kids to see what we do. We need to teach kids and mentor kids, whether they end up in my business or another local business. We want them to stay in Lancaster. And so making sure that they have the skills, but awareness of what's available is definitely, we're seeing the benefits of that, and so are businesses.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity for young people, especially if they want to stay here.
Yeah.
I know ever since I was a young kid, I always knew I wanted to stay here. I always hated the
Yeah.
thought of moving. And as you get older through high school, you see kids starting to go to school across the country and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But getting that opportunity to get in a company could be right down the road from your house you can't really pay for stuff like that.
Yeah, I say to kids all the time, you can do anything in Lancaster. Like you could be almost anything. And so it's just making sure they know that those opportunities exist.
Yeah, and it's not like it might not be the prettiest job in the world, but we were at an event last week at the Manufacturers Association, and they said in our area the average salary is 80,000 for manufacturers.
Incredible.
Like I never knew that when I was
Yeah.
a kid. I feel like because kids our age like money, and seeing that, and you don't need to go to a 4-year school for that. I think it's a great thing to kind of show them kids.
Absolutely. Like we just need to know our options. And
Yeah.
like I say a lot that my father influenced me as an educator, but that was the only job I really saw. And so I think too how my life would have been different if I did know all the options. Maybe I'd still be doing the same thing. Who knows? But you just
Yeah.
awareness is the key.
And we graduated in 2020, so not that long ago. And it's even changed since we were in school. Like I felt like you always had the options, but we went to Lancaster Catholic, and I felt like college was like known as like the best option,
Yeah.
but that's not the only option out there.
Yeah.
Not everyone loves school. It's great for certain people, but having those different options for people
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah, times have changed. And so the job market looks different than it did years ago when our parents were in school. And so it's really changing that mindset of knowing your options, knowing what you'll make, the return on investment for the education, and then making decisions based on that.
Yep, especially manufacturing in this
Yeah.
area. It's like the epicenter
Yeah.
of manufacturing, and it's very needed. Like you see the graphs of like a high percentage of people are above 50 and above, so
Yeah.
that all that knowledge and expertise is going to retire one day.
Yeah.
So kind of getting in there young and early, and I could just like we've been here since we were 18, 19, and thinking about a student, if they can get into a company that they love when they're 18, 19 years old and grow, like some of our customers have employees that have been there for 40 years,
Yeah.
and then their kids come and work there.
Yeah.
Like there's so many options out there that you just like you guys help kids explore, which is awesome.
Should be interesting to see. Like, I guess you'll start seeing it pay off more and more. Like, if you guys have really been working on these efforts, you said mainly the past couple years,
Yeah.
should be interesting to see how the workforce grows around here.
Yeah. We need to tell more of stories like yours where somebody, starts in a business early, they get connected, they get trained up, and then all of a sudden they stay there for their life because they've been invested in. And so we need to tell more community stories like yours.
Yeah, and you never really know. Like I don't think either of us thought we'd be working in a scrapyard, but it kind of just pans out that way. Like
Yeah.
the things you least expect in life,
Yep.
kind of end up happening sometimes.
Isn't that the truth?
And it works out for the best. Like chemistry, we work with chemistry a lot here,
Yeah.
and me and Alex actually had that class together, and it was my least favorite. I don't know about yours; it was very hard, but now we work with it every day.
Yeah.
So it's just very funny and weird how the kind of the world works.
And those are the types of things, like I talked about that Adopt a Middle School program. Like I want students to see in school how learning like the periodic table, for example, it could be so boring or it could be so interesting if we're teaching it in the context of scrap metal.
Yep.
And so like making those real world connections in school is a big project that we're working on right now through the STEM Alliance.
I think that's also an important piece because I think I would have liked chemistry, for instance, a
Yeah.
lot more if we were testing out metals to see the
Yeah.
different. Because we have a gun here that it's a really expensive gun that you can put on a piece of metal, press the button, and it'll tell you all the different. It's like a periodic table.
So cool.
And I just feel like if we kind of learned like that a little bit in high school, it could have benefited a lot.
Yeah, I think about that with math too. Like so many students hate math, but boy, math is the fundamental resource to solve problems. Like how cool if we could use math to solve problems in a way that was engaging to students. Like that would be fun.
Yep, like budgeting. Like
Yeah.
I'm saving for a house, so
Yeah.
learning how to budget. We did have some great classes like that, but even things like taxes.
Yeah.
I did my taxes this weekend. My mom had to teach me last year. I kind of got to the age where I was like, okay, Mom, you shouldn't have to do this. But even just learning simple things like
Yeah.
that,
Totally agree.
translates to the real world. I feel like it's hard
Absolutely.
to, like, I was 22 the first time I did my taxes, and I was lost, and I felt like I didn't have to be. So.
Well, I'm 43 and I can't do my own taxes, so kudos to you.
Oh, it's brutal, but it's important. You have to do it every year. So learning
Yeah.
things like that is definitely very important. What is your favorite part of your day?
Oh, great question. Things like this, like just getting out into the community. Like I said, I've lived in Lancaster my whole life, yet I didn't realize what a bubble I lived in. And so my job gets me out into different businesses, lets me see jobs firsthand. I actually get to like walk through businesses, see what they do every day. And it's so interesting. And so I love just meeting people. I love having these conversations about preparing the next workforce. I love seeing what people do and hearing their stories.
Awesome. We always see you out at networking events and on LinkedIn. What has kind of been the importance of that for you? Obviously, I know you like to kind of showcase what you guys have to offer, but what has kind of been that importance, and in the importance of young kids getting on there as well?
Yeah, so for me, through the Lancaster Stem Alliance, we call ourselves an ecosystem. And an ecosystem is like all community members working together. And so if I'm not out networking, hearing what people are doing, learning about resources in our community, I can't make those connections. And so it's so important that I'm out all the time at those networking events, just hearing what's happening in Lancaster, hearing what other people are doing, and then trying to make the connections where they're natural. So for me, that's like, I couldn't do my job without those networking events. And I'm so grateful that Lancaster has all those opportunities. For kids, oh my gosh, you just, to your point, like you never know where life will take you and what opportunities will come your way. And so you got to be out there. You got to be on LinkedIn. You need to be seeing what's happening, what's trending. You need to be talking to people because you never know when that one conversation or that one connection will lead to a job opportunity, which will lead to something else. And you just never know where you'll end up.
For sure. It could be great for your personal and your professional career, because you can post personal stuff and professional stuff, but you never know who's looking at your post.
Right.
Like later down the road, you could get a job offer or go to an interview and they could be like, hey, I've seen you on LinkedIn all the time.
Yeah.
Stuff. It just helps. Like, I know it's hard for young kids it was hard for me to get on there right away, but if you have time for like Instagram and YouTube, you can take 10 to 15 minutes. Like Dan pays us 15 minutes out of our day. We go on LinkedIn.
That's awesome.
So that even shows just like it's a very important and easy kind of thing to do.
The stuff that you're posting, you have no idea the impact that's making on people that are seeing it. You're making your work look fun and you're showing what a day in your life is like. And so you never know who that will inspire. And whether it's a student or an adult who's looking for a career change, they see what you're doing. It looks like you are having a blast out here, and they want to be part of that. And so for workforce development, you got to see it. You got to see it to be it. And so you're showing it.
We appreciate that. Yeah, it's cool to get like the kids in here. We had, I think it was Peckway Elementary School. We had 400 kids here in one day.
I love it.
And it's just cool to see the kids that come back. Like one of them, shout out Axel. He's been to every yard tour for the past 2 years. And he invites me to like his birthday parties and he wants to be a crane operator. So it's just cool to like, not everyone's going to love it, but seeing I met him when he was 7. He's now 9. Yeah. Seeing a 7-year-old excited wanting to run a crane is just like, because we work here every day, we don't get to see stuff like that all the time. So seeing someone younger than you get excited about what you do every day is kind of, I don't know, it makes my day better. Is
there anything you'd like to see kind of being with the STEM Alliance for a few years now, being the director? Yeah. Is there anything that you guys don't offer right now you'd like to bring up, or is there a certain industry you'd like to hit?
Yeah, great question.
I feel like from what I've seen, like I was at the event last week talking about the apprenticeship program, and they had the group from McCaskey that are all learning to be teachers.
Yeah.
So I feel like even I didn't think that they'd be doing it for teachers, or it looks like you guys are growing that.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that because I definitely left that same meeting thinking we need to be doing more with the pre-apprenticeship programs in high school and apprenticeship programs, because you're leaving with real world experience and a credential that just sets you like one step above somebody just entering the workplace. And so that's not a place that the STEM Alliance has worked with the pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs. And then building the teacher workforce is another one. So we do a lot of work with jobs, yet education is also a job. And so definitely thinking about how do we grow the next generation of teachers, and even more importantly, STEM teachers. And so how do we inspire people through our programs to want to be STEM teachers?
And you can probably, for like the teacher aspect, you could probably bring a good knowledge to that of kind of what they would need.
Yeah,
so.
it makes me laugh. I am an educator and I'm preparing all of these other jobs. I never really stopped to think like, hey, we also need to be preparing educators like myself.
Yeah.
But,
it's interesting. Anything big going on in your personal life as of lately? Or
well, I just got married in
Congrats
November.
on that.
Thank
Congrats.
you. The day before Thanksgiving, all of our family was in town, so we're like, let's just do it. So we had a backyard wedding.
Congrats.
So nice. Yeah, thanks. So just adjusting to married life.
How is I actually have a question about this because I'm in wedding planning right now.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. It's stressful. We're looking actually at like a backyard wedding. Is it seems so nice doing it like that.
Yeah, so like the new trend I think now is micro weddings, which are small weddings, and that's what we did. So it was I think 10 people total, 12 people maybe, just our immediate family in the backyard. Yeah, it was nice. I got ready in my own bathroom, just walked outside. It was pretty nice.
And then did you throw like a big reception
No,
afterwards,
so
or?
that's a dilemma. Is like, do we do a spring reception? No, we just had like a little party. We had dinner at our house and with our family, and then that was
See,
it. Was
that's
it?
like
It was the dream.
that's my sort of language right there.
What date are you looking at?
September.
Oh,
But
nice.
as we're getting, I proposed to her in October 2023. So the planning has kind of been pushed off a little bit, and it's getting close to September. But my family's so big, and her family's not as
Yeah.
big as mine. So like we're thinking about like a backyard and
Yeah.
then like a reception
Yeah.
or something like that. Sorry, I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask
Big
that.
fan of the backyard wedding. It was really nice.
That's awesome. I think
Yeah.
I did see pictures on your LinkedIn
Yeah.
as well. It was really nice.
Yeah,
So
thank
congrats
you.
on that.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. How's the
Yeah.
first month of being
Yeah.
married feel? Is it any different?
No, it's so nice. I'm so excited for you to experience it soon. It's like living with your best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm excited. I'm excited about it. It's weird being young. Like I always
Yeah.
thought about getting married when I was younger, and that wasn't that long ago. So we're kind of here now.
Yep.
So do you have any? I don't think we touched this yet. Do you have any like favorite hobbies or things to do outside of work when you kind of take the teaching hat off?
I'm really trying to work on like the work-life balance. But I'm definitely a runner, so like I love to run. I like to exercise. I like being outside. Yeah, so like just exercise I think would be my biggest hobby, and that like also gives me some peace with the work-life balance.
It's awesome.
Yeah, how about you guys?
Same old, same thing, I guess. I like doing a lot of fishing, but
Nice.
haven't been able to do that since it's been colder.
Yeah.
Been trying to get back to the gym. So Saturday was my first day back, and then yesterday I'm
Nice.
feeling a little sore, but I'm gonna get back into it. I've been running a mile every day,
Nice.
so same type of thing. Trying to stay fit and
Yeah. I
stay
was
good.
just at State College last week for a conference, and we were at Bald Eagle State Park, and the entire lake was frozen, and there were ice fishers out there. I've never
Oh,
seen
wow.
that before.
Yeah. I love
pretty cool.
love Penn State.
Yeah.
Big Penn State fan. But I do similar stuff. We're usually together, even at work now. But yeah, fishing. We got a boat together with Dan through here. So fishing,
Yeah.
working out, kind of stuff like that. Just working, figuring stuff out, trying to save for a house.
I think it's so interesting that you both grew up together, went to school together, and then ended up here together. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like we met in like 6th grade, I think. And then I was at Columbia, he was at Catholic, and then I transferred to Catholic in 10th grade.
Yeah.
And we did all sports together. He took me to school. And then we were supposed to be roommates in college at Widener.
Yeah.
And then we graduated during COVID. And then we just,
So
he
that's
was working
basically-
here for like a year. And then I kind of came on board, and now we're together too much, probably.
That's basically COVID was like the main thing.
Wow. So did
Like,
you
kinda.
recruit him over here?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we would always go to the shout out Gam. I haven't seen you for a while, but shout out. His grandma has a pool, so we'd always go there.
Yeah.
But then it hit a point where like we'd have to wait till noon because he worked here 8 to noon. And I'm like, where's he at? And then we kind of just started working here, and it's been a great opportunity. It's cool to kind of go from high school playing sports together, supposed to be roommates, and then now working together every day. It's been kind of really cool.
So as somebody who's trying to prepare the workforce for tomorrow, like, do you have any advice that we as educators could be better incorporating, or skills that we could be teaching that would better prepare somebody to join the job market?
I don't know necessarily skills, but I would say be more open to like listening, because like kids are young, but they don't know what they want to do, but they have an idea.
Yeah.
I feel like just taking the time to kind of listen to them and help them kind of find their way, because like not every kid loves school. Some kids love school. Everyone has a different personality type, so kind of finding to work with that.
Yeah.
I feel like helps a lot, because once kids kind of feel like there's no hope or no one cares anymore,
Yeah.
then it's like the coach thing in sports. Like once the coach stops getting on you, then it's probably a bad thing. So
Yeah.
it's kind of sort of like that, just kind of finding what they're all about and just actually wanting the best for them, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good advice.
I think
Yeah.
having
Which
a
I can
good
tell you
person-
guys do.
Yeah, having a good person to like train them wherever they're going that can, I guess, like actually talk with them and explain to them why they're doing what they're doing, I feel
Yeah.
like goes a long way. Biggest thing I was lacking probably coming into like into the workforce, just being able to like talk, like look people in their eyes,
Yeah.
talk, shake their hand. So that's a huge thing, honestly.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
See, those are things that aren't part of the state required curriculum to
Yeah.
teach.
Yep.
So it's good to know.
I feel like students should like each semester they should do 2 networking events.
Yeah.
Just shaking people's hands,
Yeah.
getting out there, because I remember we told this on the last pod, but Dan found us at our first event in the hallway because we were a little nervous. But just getting out there, like obviously don't start at an event with
Yeah.
200 people, but just like a room of 30 people, just go around,
Yeah.
shake hands,
Yeah.
talk, learn about people. I feel like that's a great point.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Of course. Well, if you don't have anything else, we have a finale question that we'd like to wrap things up with.
Cool.
So what advice do you wish someone gave you back when you were starting off your career?
Oh, man.
Could be back when you were 18 getting out of school, or 21 kind of
Yeah.
getting into your professional career.
I mean, I think networking has been a theme today, and I definitely think the importance of networking and how that can just lead to opportunity. I think also just being open-minded and letting opportunities come and taking advantage of opportunities. I think I was so like single-minded, like I went to school for this is what I need to do. But knowing that, your education will lead you in a million different ways, and embrace that, embrace the challenge.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. We appreciate you coming on.
Oh my gosh,
Sorry
of
again that it
course.
was a little chilly
Oh,
out.
this is great. No, thank you. All
No wind, so it's good. Well, thank you again, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
right.